Welcome back, day 21 of How to Fix the World in 80 Days. If you're anything like me, there's something about welfare that kind of pisses you off. In my work experience, I've had the chance to meet many people on welfare, and I can tell you that there's two different groups of people. The first are people who are going through a tough time, who are going to use welfare for a little bit, and then they're going to get off. No problem with these people. The second group threaten to unravel the entire system. These are people who have been on welfare for years, with no plans of getting off anytime soon. Too many of these people, and the entire economy is going to collapse. First of all, I know it's hard to get a good job, but how long can you stay unemployed before clearly there's a problem not with the economy, but with you? In Canada, over 50% of people on welfare will stay there for at least 5 years. That's a long time to be getting your life back together. So if these people are on welfare for a while, well, how many of them are there? Turns out it really depends on the year, where you live, and how the economy is doing. But to give you a bit of context, in Quebec right now, there are 335,000 different families on welfare, totaling about 480,000 people. That's 7% of Quebec's population. So they stick around for a while, and there's a lot of them. So what? The real question is, how much does all of this cost? And to figure that out, we've got to do some basic math. So, an individual welfare user in Quebec will make about $8,000 a year. If we take the 4% of households in Quebec that are living on welfare, we're talking about $2.6 billion. Extrapolated across all of Canada, and we're talking about $11.5 billion. Something about that just doesn't seem right to me. How can we be paying $11 billion a year to have people sit at home? And don't get me wrong, these people are not living like kings. You cannot thrive off $8,000 a year. You can barely survive. And that's part of the problem. Because there are so many people living on welfare, it's not just the taxpayers that end up on the hook, but the people who actually need welfare. So do I hate these people? No. In fact, I'm happy that we live in a socialized world that is able to take care of these people financially when they're going through a tough time. But to what end? How long can we pay people to sit at home figuring out their plans? If that many people are living on welfare, then it means that many people are not working. And if that many people are not working, then we have a serious problem. So first of all, like I said before, fixing the welfare system is not about punishing people on welfare. I do not want to give off that impression. It's quite the opposite, actually. For me, fixing the welfare system is about making it work better for the taxpayers and for the people who actually need welfare. So here are a few changes that I would like to see. So for me, fixing the welfare system starts with the very basic idea that there's always something that needs to be done. If you are healthy and you're living off of welfare, why can you not perform some kind of public service, like picking up garbage on the ground or taking graffiti off the walls? These require no experience, no resources, and you're not taking away someone else's job. It doesn't have to be just those two things. I'm sure there are many things that we can do that's in the public interest. This would also help to stop people who are living on welfare who are also working under the table. If they have to check in somewhere for their community service or for their public service or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be a lot harder for them to go to their second job where they're double dipping from the taxpayers. Going one step further, governments could also incentivize companies to hire people on welfare by paying for a part of their salary. We're paying for their salaries anyway. They might as well work somewhere. Companies get an extra hand, and welfare people actually gain some useful experience. It's a win-win. If we can't get them to work, maybe we could try to reel in their spending habits. I know a lot of people on welfare who have gambling, drinking, smoking, whatever problems, and as a taxpayer, I'm not sure that I want to pay for that. So to make sure that they spend their welfare money on essentials like food, rent, medicine, whatever, which by the way is what it's designed to do, why don't we give them some kind of prepaid card that they can only use at partnering companies like pharmacies or grocery stores? Listen, I don't care that you smoke or drink or do whatever. I just don't want to pay for it. Find your own way. Of course, there is one mega solution that could make welfare go away for good, and it's called basic income. Basic income pretty much works like this. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what your income is, every Canadian would get the same amount of money every year. Say like $15,000. Now, the benefit of basic income is that it gets rid of all the bureaucracy, all the painstaking paperwork that goes into applying for all these different welfare programs. Now, the downside is that it might be super expensive. So if we were to give every one of the 36 million Canadians $15,000 a year, for example, which, by the way, is barely enough to survive, we're talking about $540 billion. That might destabilize the economy a little bit. Now, they are doing trial tests in parts of Canada, parts of the US, and parts of Finland, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how these basic income projects work out. Who knows? Do I think welfare will ever really go away? No. Even with basic income, people are going to find a way to spend all their money. But I do hope that I've at least stimulated some discussion and put some solutions on the table that can maybe make some of these problems go away. If you're on welfare, no beef. I just want the system to work a little bit better. The key word there, though, is work.